Alright folks, my name is Freyn and welcome to the T32. This is the American 7.0 heavy tank, and it's actually remarkably mobile in my opinion for a heavy, even at stock. I do have a little more ammo than I should bring, it's actually quite a lot. I've probably dropped at least another 10 rounds out of that. But I'm here on the Sands of Sinai and just receiving a bit of a tow from Martellus. I think he thought he might be able to get up the hill faster. He did give me a couple of a kilometre/an-hour speed boost, but ultimately I don't think it was really worth it for how much it slowed him down. So now, as you can see, I am heading up the east flank out into these hills. It's pretty much my one consistent strategy on this map. There's occasionally go other places, but for the most part, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So heading up here, and you can see I'm almost at the front of the pack. So it really is a very mobile heavy. Far more than you would expect. It's potentially more mobile than quite a few mediums, in fact. Now, as for the gun on this, the ammunition, you start off with the AP round, which has only got 217mm of penetration at point blank against flat armour. And then you can upgrade to the APHE round, which obviously has more post penetration damage, but is now down to 204mm of penetration. Now, with that in mind, I would say it is definitely worth the trade-off, and I personally like the APHE more. It's far more reliable on side shots, and neither shell has really got enough penetration for a lot of frontal hits on things you're going to meet. Of course, normally this is a bit of a problem for a heavy, but you are, as I said, decently mobile, so you can afford to flank a reasonable amount. With all that in mind, that's why I was a little intrigued when I looked back at this footage and realised I have quite a few AP rounds in there. I know why I've brought a few, but for the most part, yeah, it's the APHE that's needed. Still, moving into position now. Can't see anything yet. We are against Germany, so I was thinking they might be able to beat us here. And when I look at the corner, there is a Leopard. He fortunately shot my engine instead of my crew compartment. And even more fortunately, the end of the previous game finally unlocked my FPE, so that wasn't a death sentence anymore. Now, Martellus has graciously come in and helped me repair, so that's nice and quick as a result, and we can move on up. Now, T32 is an excellent hold-down tank, one of the best hold-down tanks currently in the game. I think its mantlet is incredibly thick. There's not much beyond heat rounds that'll get through it. So, just surveying the battlefield a little bit, seeing if I can spot any targets. There was a mouse out there in the dunes, and I can see an AMX-30 crossing the B point. Let's take a quick shot. Managed to clip him in the lower hull and take him out. Pretty sure he'd already taken a hit, as I didn't get the full extent of his crew. There is an AMX-50 Foch on the edge of the B cap as well, who was looking up here, but he's clearly noticed there's several tanks pushing into his flank there on the B point. So he's turned around, which now gives all of us his flank instead. Fast shot went a little low. Aim a bit higher, just around the 900-800 meters mark. And yeah, plant a shell firmly through his side. Absolutely incredibly paper thin sides on the Foch, so not a problem even for this lower than average penetration shell. Now, more targets turning up. There's another one here pushing across towards the A point. He actually, upon seeing us, decided to stop and fire rather than run for cover, so that's another Leopard down. Now, an AMX-50 Seabass has also appeared at the bottom down there. There's plenty of targets popping up. And while this does have a longer than average reload at 15 seconds on an expert crew, still, it's short enough that I'm managing to get off a reasonable amount of shots. Didn't really know what that vehicle was initially, turning out to be an IS-4, so no hope of penning it. It was a wasted round, but there's an Object 120, and the enemy smoke had cleared, so I might have been able to finish off the Seabass, but The chieftain threw up his own smoke here, blocked my view. I understand if he's obviously taken a hit, but it would have been nice to have been able to fire down there and claim another kill. Gun rock, not exactly one of the best features of this tank. It took quite a while to stabilise and I couldn't get the shot off in time. The MX-50 just slipped out of sight, but I'm still in cover. We've still got control of this and the A-cap. We need to start working on some other caps soon, but for the meantime we've got plenty of targets. Knocking out the Object 120 with a shot to the side of his turret. So it's 5 kills and we're just over 5 minutes in. So I'm pretty happy with how this is going. I've had a few reasonable games in the T32 so far, but normally they sort of fizzle out after 4 or so kills. Not much I can do to the IS-4 there. I was just debating what to do with my shot. Maybe try go for his driver's hatch. Trying to see if I can remember how much armour it has, but in the end someone else took it out, so no need to waste the reload. Not quite sure how, but Coelian did manage to get behind a couple of our mediums. Lit a lot of fires. Actually between the mediums, if you look at the map, there was someone behind him. And I'm just sort of pottering around here trying to find my way back out from amongst the rocks I've positioned myself in. Still losing a few tanks, and we do need to start working on those caps. So, time to head down the hill. My intent is to push across A out towards B and see if I can take that. Obviously wanting to do this cautiously, not just blindly push out. Managed to avoid getting bombed, thankfully. Still a couple of tanks out on the dunes. Managed to just see a T-54 crossing the open. It's possibly not the safest place for me to stop and fire, but at least the frontal armour on my tank is pretty heavy and he's pointed straight at him, whereas he was side on and chose to fire back at me. Should have probably penned that. I think I just caught the very bottom of his turret front and got an odd ricochet, but it looked like it should have connected and I really would have liked to get the kill. Now amidst the bombs I'm still trying to make some progress down the hill, but having sort of skidded into that rock I now need to be able to turn and change direction obviously, but as you can see in this relatively stock condition the T32 is not turning on a hill very well, and I need to build up a bit of momentum to turn first, and to do that I have to reverse further back up it. Managed to see a 1390 up there. It's actually quite lucky. I was just looking around and happened to catch him out the corner of my eye. He hadn't seen me, so may as well just pop off a shot and get rid of him. And just about managed to orientate myself in the position to get down to the cap. Time to start pushing over. Just double check that T-54's not reappeared. I can't see him anywhere. And the coast seems clear, so let's start moving on. Thought about maybe moving up under this hill over on the right of me. See if I can catch some of their snipers off. I can tell there's something up there at least, although the Object 120 just got killed. So I'm sort of in a bit of a debate of where to go here. My original plan's been a bit derailed from seeing some of those shots come in and knowing that T-54 is over there. The game's slowed down a fair bit at this point. Say 5 kills in the first 5 minutes and now just 1 more in the past 4, so it's been quite the turnaround once that initial wave is gone. See the T-54's just popped back up. Unlikely to be able to take him out, just see what orientation he's got. Hull's facing front, so it's very unlikely unless I can get an extremely lucky cupola shot. Now, I was hoping for one that the player on our team up in the D7 area will be able to take out that T-54 from a different angle. But in the meantime, this T-34 in front of me has died. It's been taken out by a leopard. I have no idea where the leopard's going to be. And I'm a bit apprehensive of pushing in into a position exactly where my teammate has just died. So, I'm just going to loiter, pop off another couple of shots at this T-54, and we'll see what happens. We are getting really low on tickets though, so I can't afford to do it for very long. T-54's gone out of sight. Hopefully whatever's on that hill is at least distracted. I can make the rush over, get onto A, maybe block it, make sure no one can take it. We've got someone on B, or close enough to B that he should be able to capture it, so there we go. B started capturing, I'm blocking this. We should be okay for the time being. It's always a good idea to keep moving up between different areas of cover instead of just making one big push. Just sort of stop, have a look around, see what the situation's like before going again. You don't want to get yourself killed. We did lose the player who was capping B though. Martellus is pushing that way in a T29 and it's not under anyone's control at the moment. So it's not so much of a problem. It's an AMX-30 DCA pushing up, just knock him out. I sit here, I would like a bit more ammo. I'm unlikely to use all 7 of my APHE, but I'd still rather secure it. No, there's an anti-aircraft gun on the hill. You can see his traces coming out, so try and take a shot. He's unlikely to connect, unfortunately. He's a bit low behind it. But for the moment, everything is okay. We're not draining tickets because no one is in control of B. Martellus is on his way there. The mouse has just been bombed. So it should be clear and we should be able to get, finally, majority cap control. Not that I've particularly contributed to that cap control, but I like to think I help in other ways, you know? And for now, that way is just make sure we don't lose A. It'd be a shame for me to push over to B, try and, you know, help gain control of that, only to lose A in the process, as there's no one else really nearby. It's just me, and yeah, I've got to make sure this stays under our control. See if I can take another shot at this AA. He's actually on top of the hill now, a bit more visible. So it's actually skipped off his upper plate there and into the side of his turret, instead of just a straight ricochet. IS-6, showing me side briefly. So, peek out. Want to go for a shot behind his tracks. It's the thinnest part of the side armour, but unfortunately noticed me as I wasn't quite reloaded in time. Not sure, maybe had I delayed a little I might have been able to get that shot, but I think in the end he simply sort of spun a bit and would have course corrected before I got the shot either way. Now, this is a pretty tough matchup here, the T32 against the IS-6. The IS-6 can't pen the T32's turret or the T32's upper plate, but it can pen the lower plate, and it's still, you know, capable of one-shotting you that way, especially with all your ammo in the floor of the tank. And the T32, on the other hand, has got very difficult time penning the IS-6 as well. It's pretty much just the cupolas or that lower side you're going to be able to pen. You can't get through the lower plate, upper plate, and I'm pretty sure not even the mantlet. So, see, I'm peeking out here trying to go for the cupola. But I was a little hasty and didn't hit the cupola. Gun was still stabilising a bit. Now, this is why I came and sat on the cap instead of going over to B with everyone else. As soon as I looked at the map and realised there was no one else nearby, if I'd moved off and the IS-6 came in, it would have been decapped and we'd now be on the back foot again and having to try and dislodge an IS-6 from the cap. By staying here, he can't decap it, we're still draining tickets, and nobody has to kill him. As long as I stay within this circle, he can't get the cap. So I've just got to make sure he doesn't manage to drive me off. Unfortunately, with some rather typical timing, I stopped to type, pointed my gun at the corner, stopped to type that the IS-6 is here, see if I could maybe get someone to try and give me a hand. And that's the exact moment he chose to push around. But cupola shot, as I said before, the one way the T32 can take out the IS-6. He rushed his, fired on the move, didn't pen, and I took him out. Now, that is the 9th and last kill of this game. We are still a fair way behind on tickets, and we have just lost the players at B, but fortunately, there's a tank destroyer going back to the cap to try and protect it. And ultimately, it ends up working out, but I will spare you the last 4 minutes of waiting out the ticket bleed. And yeah, overall, very pleasing game. Well, there was one thing I had to go back and check after playing this battle. If you see the player on our team in E7, there's a heavy tank up there. And that's the player I was really hoping would help me out with that IS-6 when I stopped to type, that he was there, hoping he might shoot down and get him in the side. But if you go back and look at the replay, you'll find this is what was going on. You just sort of have to wonder what he was thinking. There's a battle going on all over the map, there's cap points being exchanged, there's players dying. And there's a conqueror just going for a bit of a leisurely climb onto an oil silo. Not really sure what was going on here. Yeah, just the oddities that people get up to. Anyhow, there's one more thing to show you from this about the T32. So, I had mentioned earlier about there being still a reason to bring the AP rounds despite there being very little pen difference between the two. And this is why. So, first unload the APHE round into the barrel, this mouse that's harassing our T29 a little, and then move up, get nice and close to his side, flat on, just to really reduce any sort of armour angling, and then AP round into the side, get his ammo. And that is pretty much the entire reason I was bringing the AP rounds, because the mouse is still quite a common opponent here, and that AP round does make a difference to trying to take them out. It's not something I think I could do with APHE. Maybe if I literally went up and touched the mouse it might just go through, but the AP does give a little more leniency on those penetration rolls. However, that's everything on the T32 for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.